It's been a long time coming. I have to say that.
There's another universe. Please make some noise. Give me a
I'm Ashley Nicole. I'm a hair extension specialist and educator. And many of you don't know, I am a former salon owner. I owned my salon for about 5 years. I closed in March of 2025. And my only regret being a salon owner would be not sharing my story, the hardships, the lessons. I didn't talk about any of that. I just did my work and just kept going. It is very important that you share your story. It could help someone, it can motivate someone. There are lessons to be learned that I didn't know. And had I known that, I probably wouldn't have made those mistakes. So I opened my salon in August of 2020. It was the height of a global pandemic. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna open up a business. I thought I was gonna open up a beauty supply store, but once I saw the space, I'm like, okay, it's already set up like a salon. Maybe I should do this. I opened my business with just the money that I had in my savings. I knew nothing about like business credit or, building my own credit. I never considered a loan or a grant. It was just everything that I've had saved, and I just opened. I only told two people, so my mom and my friend. And my mom's like, well, are you sure you're ready for this? Like, are you sure you can do this? Can you afford this? And one thing about me, like, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. But if I put my mind to something, it's gonna get done. So let's give a little bit of background on like my careers. When I was growing up, my aunt always did hair, so I would watch her. She would do sewing, she would do quick weaves. But I never really saw being in the beauty industry in my future. I honestly wanted to be a psychologist. I wanted to work in the psych ward of like top security prisons, and I wanted to speak directly to like the serial killers, the robbers, like all of the wild things that we see on like these crime that we see on like these crime TV shows. That's where I wanted to be. And I also wanted to have my own practice, but I never seen being in the beauty industry in my future. What got me into it was I was in college. I was studying psychology, and I was in there for about maybe 2 semesters. And I mean, I was doing pretty well, like, but my cousin passed away, and I'm like, okay, like, I need to take a step back. I don't want to do anything. I kind of just want to like retreat to myself. And after months, my mom's like, okay, well, either you're going to go to school or you're going to get a job. And I did not want to get a job because that meant paying bills. So I enrolled in beauty school just to get my mom off my back. And it was just, I was pushed into it. In beauty school, I finished a year and a day from the day that I actually started. The program is 9 months long. I wound up taking a leave, and then when I came back, I got suspended. I didn't even know you can get suspended in beauty school, but my beauty school, I guess, like experience like a shit show. So when I graduated beauty school, I was super happy. I was excited to just be done. I was actually working at a grocery store, and my hair was fire engine red. I had like the side was shaved off, it was blonde, and I had like cheetah print on the side. Like, and this guy comes into the line and he's like, "You're a hairstylist." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "How? Like, how do you know this? Like, do you know me?" He's like, "No, I know you're a hairstylist. You have the look. I own a really big salon in Bethlehem. When you're ready, come down and I have a job for you." Months later, me and my mom were on the bus and we passed the salon. I go in there, I ask for the owner. He's there and he's like, "What took you so long? Like, we've been waiting for you." I worked there for about 3 months. I wound up leaving because I had my temporary cosmetology license. It wound up expiring, and I have this fear of taking like really big tests. So I didn't take my test, and I stopped working in the beauty industry for 3 to 5 years until one day I was working a part-time job. I went on break and I go get coffee, and I wind up just driving home. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you have bills, you have rent, you have a car note, you have car insurance. Like, what are you doing? You don't have any money saved. And I just said to myself, like, I can't do this anymore because hair is my passion ultimately. Like, it's what I want to do, it's what I love to do, and it's either sink or swim. So either you're going to make it happen or you're going to fail big time. And failure just was not an option. I hustled, I grinded, I built my clientele, I built my brand, and it just took off from there. When I look back at my journey as a salon owner, What surprised me the most was, I'm not easily surprised. Maybe just like a realization that people have a lot of audacity. Um, and I say that because, people would come into my business and expect to tell me what to do. And that's just not how it works in any salon, in any business, any job that you choose to take. You do not go in telling anyone what to do. I am very black and white, and I'm very cut and dry and very transparent. So I laid out the policies, I laid out my expectations, and it's up to you to decide if you want to adhere to that or to not. And again, that's your decision. I never chase anyone to come or to stay, but I learned that people had a lot of audacity, and low key just like disrespect. A huge challenge in owning a salon, there's a lot of responsibility. It's not just, I'm gonna pay the overhead, I'm gonna pay the bills, and that's about it. I was a very hands-on boss, so if you didn't have clients, best believe I'm behind the scenes running ads, sending out emails, texting, cold calling people, writing posts, doing all the things, all the content to get bodies in the chair. Because if you chose to work in my salon, I felt as though it was my job to get you clients, because that is what a salon is for. Another thing about owning a salon that a lot of people do not talk about or really listen to is the toll that it takes on like your mental health. It is a very heavy weight to bear. It is a lot. For a very long time, I was not comfortable talking about, my journey as a salon owner. There were a lot of things that went on, a lot of things that were said, and a lot of betrayal that I felt. So although being a salon owner, I'm not going to say a lot of bad. There are, some cons to it, but there are a lot of pros. It is very fulfilling. It is very fulfilling to watch a stylist grow. I hired in pretty much all new beauty professionals, so fresh out of beauty school. So watching them finally like get it, like when you train them in something and you see that it all just clicks, it is just an amazing feeling. Like you feel like a proud mom. Like I remember training a girl in taping extensions, and I'm like, listen, I trained you, you practiced, you took models, now we're going to get you a booking and you're actually going to do the service. She did it. When she was done, it was beautiful. And just seeing like the glow on her face and just like how proud she was, that is truly just like priceless. So there are a lot of pros in owning a salon. I am someone who holds a lot of accountability and a lot of self-awareness. If I could go back in my early days of owning a salon, I would make sure I really interviewed people properly, because I was so quick to just give, give an opportunity. People talk a good game when they walk into any job. And I always told people, like, listen, you don't have to bullshit me. And I should have made it more exclusive to work in my business. And I am a strong believer that proximity means just like being so close to someone that holds a lot of value. And I should not have allowed everyone next to me, because you start to lose your value. And I feel like I worked very hard for my brand, and just allowing any old body to come in and work there, it lowered the value of my brand and it lowered the value of my business. And I put, my brand and my business in the hands of other people who I should not have had even in my business in the first place. When I interview people, pretty much everyone said like, eventually, I want to own a salon because, I see that you're doing it and it's very inspiring, blah, blah, blah. And if you have a dream of owning salon, that is an amazing dream, but just understand that it is a journey and a career that can be very thankless. You won't hear a lot of thank yous, and it's very unfortunate. But aside from that, like I said, it is very fulfilling, especially if you go in with the passion to want to help people. That to me kind of trumps everything. Although I didn't get, many thank yous from people who I feel as though I deserve them from, I know that I did it to be good, to be kind, and just to be genuine. I know what it's like to be a new stylist. I know what it's like to just want to get the experience and learn, and just to, get some type of help. So I, in turn, became that helping hand. But if you want to open a salon and that is your dream, do your research on the market, really take some classes. I wish I would have taken classes on like team building and leadership and just managing, because although I feel as though I am a natural leader, sometimes I did not go about it in the right way. And I had employees come to me like, hey, it's not really what you said, it's how you said it and how it made me feel. So I take accountability when it comes down to my delivery, but the message is always the same. Like, I might have said it in a way, but trust me, I meant what I said. There are a lot of pros, a lot of cons, and I haven't really talked about all of the pros, and I will get there. But I think it's important that we shed the light on the cons. So drama in a salon, betrayal, arguments, disagreements. They showed up and they showed out. I remember I hired a girl and she was literally like a cancer. And we would have team meetings, because I would hold those at least once a month, and just go over things and check in on everyone. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Are there things that you feel as though that I can do to improve, and vice versa? And I remember it was a topic of dress code, and I'm like, listen, dress code is all black with the exception of our color, which was at the time emerald green. And I remember hearing her say like, oh well, we have to wear all black, and why doesn't she have to wear all black, and how do y'all feel about that? And just the way that she was saying it, because everybody was on board. She was trying to sway my team. She would go and gossip about other team members. It would get back to them. It would create a conflict between one team member and another. And I had to sit her down and tell her like, listen, we do not have to be friends in this salon like besties, but we do have to get along. This is not high school. We don't do the drama, we don't do the cattiness, and if it continues, you will be fired. Conflict arose pretty often. I've had two stylists almost come to blows. Mind you, I'm nowhere near the salon, and I'm just like, okay, if any of you fight, both of you will be gone. Like, I have no tolerance when it comes to things like that. As far as like betrayal, I felt betrayed, I would say maybe once. So I had one stylist that, she came in, obviously new stylist, still in beauty school, and we built a pretty solid relationship in the salon and outside of the salon. So when she started, she was my assistant. I would train her on things. I would explain things to her. I would encourage her. At one time, she wanted to quit beauty school and just like start working. I'm like, girl, no, like, you're almost done. Go to school full time. When you're done, you'll have a chair here. She worked with me for almost 3 years, and I wound up moving to Atlanta. In first year here in Atlanta, I remember getting a text from her, and she's like, hey, I quit, I'm leaving, today's going to be my last day. And I'm looking at my phone like, what the fuck? Because what do you mean you're just going to leave? You have a full book, one. And again, we had a relationship outside of the salon. That should have been a conversation that you had with me, at the very least over the phone. And just like any other job, give me at least a 2 weeks notice, give me a heads up. So I wound up flying into Allentown. I would say it could be like 3 or 4 days later, because we were hosting an event for Christmas, and comes in like, hey, like, can I talk to you? So I go outside, we talk, we have a conversation. She lets me know like, hey, I felt away. I felt like you weren't sharing my posts on Instagram, and I just didn't feel like there was the same type of community here now that you're not here. And I fully understood that, and she told me more things, and I'm like, okay, well, if you felt that way, it's very valid, but you should have spoke to me about it. If you ever feel away, I feel as though if you harbor it and you just hold on to it, it will build resentment. And once it gets to that point, there is no way for that to change. So I agree with her. I'm like, listen, I apologize. You are entitled to feel how you want to feel, and it's probably best that you did leave the salon if you were holding any type of like resentment towards me. It was very hurtful to lose her, because again, she wasn't just like a stylist. I consider her a friend. We've gone out of town together, we've gone to concerts together. She's done amazing work. I made sure to acknowledge that and to reward, but I think people fail to realize that with the acknowledgement, for the things that you're doing good, when you're doing something that's wrong or below the standard, I will talk to you about that. And I feel there is a lack of, one, accountability, and then two, communication. I'm big when it comes to communication. I always want to talk. I feel as though 95% of our problems can always be solved if we just have a conversation. If you're not open to that, and if you're not mature enough to have a conversation, it will build resentment, and the best option for you is to actually leave. After she left, I already had doubts about whether or not I should close my salon. I mean, it could be a pride thing, but I just did not want to let it go. I had my salon for almost 5 years. I built it from the ground up through, the ins, the outs, the ups, and the downs. There was plenty of times where even my mom's like, okay, Ash, like maybe you should just like count your losses. Maybe these are all signs. And people kept leaving, people kept coming, people kept going. And at one point I sat down like, okay, let me figure out a proper hiring system. That way it's tiered and there's different levels to it. It feels more structured and not more so just like, a conversation, fill you out, take a look at the handbook and boom, you're hired. When it comes to like building a team in a salon, every job that you go to, there is a leadership. So there's a manager, a supervisor, all of those things. So I knew the right time to actually have that in place, have management, because I'm not here physically and it's very hard to, run a salon without being there. So I decided to appoint a manager. She had experience managing a salon. I just need to know that can you run it how I would run it? Are you able to hold people accountable? And she showed me that. I won't give you a lot of tasks, but you will be pretty much the point of contact. Before people contact me, they contact you and then you talk to me. I remember I checked my cameras and I seen that she was still in the salon. I seen a client walk in and I'm like, it's pretty late, like what is going on? So the next day I checked the footage and I seen that she did a service and she didn't have that service on her books. So I assumed like, okay, maybe she just forgot. So when I was running payroll, I'm like, hey, what was the service and did you forget to put it on your books? Because, I don't see a transaction here. And she's like, oh no, she was just a model. She was a model for knotless braids, like, but how to braid. Like she's really good at her knotless braids. So I pulled the camera footage and I rewatched the service and ultimately I see that there is an exchange of money. I'm going to give her a chance to come clean because I seen the girl give her the money and then she said, hey, I'm going to send you your tip on Cash App. I asked her about it and she lied. I seen you take the money. This is a commission salon. You stole from me. You never have to steal from me. Like, and you're going through things, that's a conversation that we can have. And you're using my space, you're using the electricity, and you're using my products. And then also with the products, she was stealing things. She was stealing things off of like my retail shelf. I thought I was doing the right thing by appointing a manager and allowing her to take on that role, but ultimately I was not. And again, that's my fault because I should have properly vetted her and made sure that she is capable and just to like check her morals, because if you steal from anyone morally, you're pretty fucked up. So like the final straw for me, it's a combination of many things, constantly, losing stylists, constantly, having to cancel clients and close and rebrand and rebuild and all of these things. It was just a lot and everything was kind of just like snowballing, almost like a domino effect. At a certain point I just got fed up and it just was not worth it for me anymore, and ultimately I decided to close because my mental health means more than a business. My mental health is number one. But Atlanta has been very healing for me. I moved here for like a new life, like a new chapter, to try new things and just live. Like I came here to live my life. Like obviously I'm going to work because that's part of like my livelihood, but I came here to actually just live, be free, have fun. And it has healed me a lot. When people ask me like how does it feel like being here like in Atlanta, and I say it feels like a hug, like a good old southern hug, and like it just feels very comfortable. My mental health is number one. I got tired of people coming into my business and then winding up leaving because they cannot hold their end. I am very black and white when it comes to what it is that I'm expecting, and I'm very clear like, hey, if you ever need a day off or if you need like a mental health break, like you can step away. There's been times where I closed the salon, let's go to the beach, like fuck it, let's cancel the books, let's go to the beach, we all need a day off and let's just chill and relax. I'm all about balance, but I'm not for the bullshit. I've had a lot of bullshit come my way. I've had stylists text me and say like, hey, I can't come in today because I have to babysit. You have a client in 30 minutes. So when did you know that you had to babysit? Like, I didn't hire you to be a babysitter. I hired you to be a hairstylist, and you don't have any clients. And now that you have bookings, you're telling me that you can't come in. So it was just many things, like a snowball effect, where I said, okay, like, this is no longer good. This is no longer suiting me. It's starting to wear me out. It's starting to discourage me, and it's taking me away from my work and the work that I want to do here now that I'm in Atlanta. So when I decided to step down, I would say I felt a lot of pain. I felt a lot of guilt. I felt a lot of resentment, and I felt failure. But then on the other side of that, I felt free. That kind of just like took over every other feeling. There are still times where I feel like I failed. There are times where I kind of question, like, did I make the right decision? Should I have held on to it longer? And honestly, I should have let it go sooner, because the amount of freedom that I feel now feels amazing. I feel like I can be selfish. I believe that being selfish, it kind of has like a negative connotation where it's like, okay, like you're all for yourself. And no, there is a time where you have to draw back and look within yourself and do things strictly for you. And it feels good to finally have that again. To focus on my brand, my business, making the moves that I should be making here, and doing what I have to do just like on a bigger scale. When it comes down to relocating to a new city, especially a bigger city like Atlanta. Moving from Allentown, I had a lot of clients. Bookings were just so easy. If I say I had an opening, it was filled within the next 5 to 10 minutes. Moving here, I am now a big fish in a very, not even a big pool, in like the ocean. There is a lot of competitors here, so you really have to stand out. And for me, it's very humbling to go from being like the boss, the owner, to now just essentially being like the new girl. And I spoke to a hairstylist here. She's very established. She does amazing work. And she's like, listen, let it be fun again. She's like, now you have all these different lessons, you know more, you're more experienced. Like, use that and, have fun with like your new, like your rebrand, and, doing what it is that you have to do in order to gain clientele. Overall, salon ownership taught me a lot. It taught me patience. It taught me that you can give grace, but not to the point where you start to disrespect yourself and forget about your own boundaries. I gave a lot of grace, and in turn, people played in my face, and it's something that I've accepted now. For me, it's always like, I would never do you like that, so you don't ever have to do me like that. Salon ownership taught me that I am very strong. I am a problem solver, and I can do a lot of things. Like, I've built not only my books, but I've built the books of other stylists. Like, people knew, like, if you want to build your books, if you want to get some clients, if you want to, really advance in your career or start your career, you come to my salon. Like, that was just like an unspoken thing. So whether people want to admit it or not, like, I helped you. You helped me, but I helped you as well. And let's not ever forget that you came to me for the opportunity. I didn't come to you for the opportunity. I would have appreciated that it was more appreciated, and I would have liked a thank you. But my mantra is always, I did it out of kindness, and you don't owe me shit. A thank you would always be nice, but I'm never expecting that. I do things to be kind. I do things because, again, I know what it's like to want help and, not know where to look or to ask and not receive it. So I wanted to be that helping hand. Nobody's bigger than the program, because at the end of the day, it's my business, it's my vision. And if you don't fit that vision, then you got to go. I fire people based off of that, because, again, you will never come into somebody else's business and tell them what to do, especially mine. I'm always open to hearing perspective and figuring out where it is that I can, improve, but also understand that it is a compromise, and we both have to be losing something in order to gain something. But nobody's bigger than the program. It's your business. So if you ever choose to open a salon, don't allow anyone to come into your business and tell you what to do. be open to the conversation, but ultimately it is your decision. So I want people to understand that closing my salon it was a tough decision, but it was a decision that needed to be made. And although I go back and forth on whether or not I should have, I know ultimately it was the right decision. I also want people to understand me and understand that, again, like, I love my salon. I welcomed everybody in with open arms, and I I'm losing my train of thought. So, my decision in closing my salon, I want people to understand that it was a decision that needed to be made. And it was also, for me, it was a decision that, I battled back and forth, like, should I close it? Should I not close it? I can do this. It's not that bad. But it's like, even though you can do it, doesn't mean that you should do it. It was weighing a lot, like I said, on my mental, where it's like, damn, like, I thought I got it right, but like, nope, here comes some more bullshit. The decision to close was the best decision for me. And I am in a season of being selfish. And sometimes you have to make decisions strictly based on you. I kept my business open for so long because, there were people that were benefiting from it. There were people that enjoyed it, especially my clients. That was one of the main reasons why I said, okay, I'll keep it open. But ultimately, closing was my choice, my decision, and it was for me. There are a lot of salon owners that go through the same problem. There's always going to be good employees and terrible employees. I want people who are also going through the same thing to understand that really be patient with yourself, really take the time out to listen to your staff, because we are not perfect as owners, salon owners. Listen to your gut, and when your gut says like something just is not right, go with that and do what you have to do to either improve it or to eliminate it. There's a story going around with a salon owner. She's telling her stylist, like, yeah, this year you made 250K in, services, 50K in retail, and here's a $2,000 bonus. Like, that's pretty damn good. But people are in the comments like, oh, that's selfish. She made all that money and you're only going to give her $2,000. A lot of people don't understand that being a salon owner, just because you see that number does not mean that the owner took that home. As far as retail, that stylist did not pay for any of that retail, so getting a percentage of that is also an amazing perk. But a $2,000 bonus, that's pretty damn good. Imagine you're working at your 9 to 5 job and your boss says, here's a $2,000 bonus. That's a lot of money. When it comes to being a salon owner, it is still a business, and it is meant to make money. There is a lot of misconception when it comes to that, as if, being a salon owner, you are not supposed to make money off of other people. It's just like any other job. So let's say you work at Amazon, you're not asking, why isn't Jeff Bezos right here picking orders? You're not asking those type of questions. You're coming in and you're doing your job. A lot of people look at salon owners and they start to feel resentment. There's a lot of misconception when it comes down to salon ownership and the profit margin that we do and do not make. People would just educate themselves and have real conversations with salon owners as stylists. There would be a lot of understanding in there. Now, as far as me right now and my new chapter and what it is that I'm doing, last year I was exploring. So I was just trying to figure out what it is that I want, March of 2025, I closed my salon. So after that, I was just kind of all over the place, just trying to really find my footing here in Atlanta. And ultimately, now I'm just rebuilding and I guess rebranding, trying to build my clientele to the point where it's as consistent as it once was. Giving myself grace, the same grace and patience that I gave other people, I now know that I need to give that to myself. Now, some advice that I can give to a new stylist would be advice that I would have given myself as a new stylist. Understand that you do not know everything, and it is very important to, be an apprentice, to find a mentor, and to really learn from them. There is nothing wrong with saying that someone helped you with something, that someone helped you get to where it is that you want to go. We all need help, but as far as the beauty industry and the salons, we all need that type of help. Find a mentor, find a community, and really hold on to those people and learn from them, because you don't know everything. I've gotten a lot of questions as far as, will you open a salon? Being in Atlanta, I've been in 3 different salon suites, and I worked at one salon, and I realized that I crave my own business, because I am very particular. I also crave community, and I crave, being around other stylists and, training other stylists. I love that part of salon ownership. I might have talked about a lot of the bad. Honestly, there is so much good that came out of it. I met my best friend at my salon. She was my employee, and now like that's like my sister. I do plan on opening a salon. It will be pretty much the same business model. I will be inviting new hairstylists to come in to learn and to train with me. That's just my passion. Right now, new hairstylists need that because they have the skill set. These girls are very talented, but they are lacking when it comes to the structure and like the community of it all, and understanding that you cannot do it by yourself and you don't have to. So just to wrap everything up, would I ever suggest being a salon owner? Absolutely not. No. I would definitely suggest salon ownership, but only if you are truly ready, and stylists to understand that it goes beyond like an Instagram post. It goes beyond, cutting a ribbon and celebrating. That's the easy part. The hard part is really like sustaining a team. That is something that I had trouble with. Learned a lot about a team and teamwork and team building. I was doing all the things. I was having outings, I was doing meetings, I was having one-on-one meetings. I was providing, all the tools to succeed. I was just providing them to the wrong people. If you ever decide to open a salon, just go in with the mindset of this shit is not going to be easy. It will test you a lot, but there's a lot of good that comes from it. It is a chapter in my life that I closed, and I am looking to reopening, or actually just like redoing, restarting a whole new chapter. But when it just comes to being a salon owner, this is my passion. It won't ever go anywhere. Even if I try to just like brush it away, it is something that is in me, and it's just like my calling. It's my purpose. It's an amazing journey. It's a roller coaster ride, but honestly, being in the beauty industry, what part of that isn't?